Stephen Robbins, Vice President of Royal Creek Consulting.
Outstanding. Well, thank you for joining us today. And let's talk a little bit about, first off, what it is you guys do. Consultants, a little bit of a broad word. So let's talk a little bit about a definition of the company.
Well, Jason, we are a sales and business development consulting firm that we operate in the Northeast as well as South and West Texas. And we're getting ready to celebrate our 1-year anniversary of being in business. And we are excited about where our future is headed.
So about a year ago, and I'll tell you what, you guys are another validation that getting into the communication business, getting into the sales business, the networking business has really grown into its own little niche. I've seen a few other consulting companies like this pop up. Is that kind of, in a nutshell, what it is you guys are really doing, is kind of being that sales department or that sales force or that sales person for, those, I guess, who's your customer? I would guess it'd be small and mid-sized companies, but I can also see where bigger companies would use you guys.
Yeah, we've had a lot of, we've had great reception to the concept that we're putting into play, because a lot of companies are looking for alternative solutions, because doing the same thing over and over hasn't necessarily been effective for them. Granted, the traditional model of a sales employee is a good model, just for some of these newer startups as well as these mid-sized companies who have basically stalled. They're looking for something new, a new way or a new concept to bring their products and their service to the market. And what better way to do it than to team up with an experienced sales staff and then have them bring their products to the market for them. And as also it creates a sense of comfort level, because these people have already vetted their customers, and so they know that these are true buyers and they're not just chasing, down leads that may or may not buy. Whereas we bring our clients in and we take them to people who are buying. And so it really cuts down on a lot of added time and expense in the sales department.
Oh, absolutely it does. So you guys have been around for about a year. How is the growth factor growing? I can imagine that it's one of those things that either you're fortunate enough to grow at your own pace, or there's so much business out there, because as well as I do, the Permian's taken off, which means it's rippling into some of the other shale plays. The Bakken's doing very well as well. Talk to me a little bit about that growth factor that's going on with your guys' business.
So the overall growth of our company has been amazing, as well as within our clients that we represent. And we've actually gotten to a point where we want to continue to grow. We want to bring on additional clients, but we're very selective. We've been selective across the board, but we're very selective moving forward now, because we want to make sure that our time is adequately spent. And my partner and wife of 11 years, April, who is the president of our company, her and I have decided that we will take on additional clients as we progress, but they have to be the right fit. So we don't want to be just in business with anyone. And to say that we want to expand within our company is also a true statement, because we want to be able to offer our clients additional services outside of April and myself. And so by bringing in additional sales staff, we feel like we can really ramp up for our clients and give them the opportunity to tell us to slow down, which currently right now with the growth that the industry's in, no one's telling anyone to slow down, but we would like our clients to have that option. So we're to say that we're growing would be a true statement.
Yeah, well, a few things I wrote down was momentum, because it seems like you got a grasp on how either in the energy industry or life, you just have to have that momentum that's continuously moving forward. And, like in the energy industry, a lot of those guys, they companies, I should say, they don't want the rig count to go down to where they don't have any rigs, because then they got to go back and hire all the people back and do all that stuff that's going on right now. And that's the momentum of the business. So I wrote that down for one, is understanding that. But the other part, it seems like you guys really have an idea on that value of time, which is so important, because staying within the wheelhouse of your expertise in the energy industry is so important. And these oil companies are not afraid to outsource, and they're not afraid to look beyond their own expertise in order to get something done. That's kind of what I'm hearing when I listen to you. You talk about trying not to take on too much business and bite off more than you can chew, and grow at a pace that's beyond. Talk to me a little bit about that specialized part that you guys are looking for. So, you've mentioned that you're specifically looking for certain companies and everything. So who specifically are you guys looking for?
Well, we like to align ourselves with companies with the same core values and hold a high standard within their company. And we've met and interviewed a handful of companies over the last month, and we've actually walked away from it just because it wasn't a good fit. One thing that we do offer for our customers and our clients is exclusivity within our contract. So if we represent a frac valve company that's based in Granbury, Texas, that has yards in the Northeast as well as West Texas, South Texas, and these guys, they've got isolation tools, 10K and 15K, pressure testing, and so on, and as well as wellhead work. But we would never represent another company that does the same services. So, and when we take on a client, we give them exclusive rights to our services, and by that, our exclusivity prohibits us from representing any company that provides the same services or supplies. And so that allows us to work hand in hand with our customers and our clients are operating full transparency. There's a lot of inside information that we must have access to in order to adequately service a customer. And so we team up real well with the business development team that's already in place for the operations team. And so that's what we're looking for within new clients, is companies that have and hold a high standard for their, not only their field employees, but for their management team as well as their CEOs and COOs. And so to summarize that, we're just looking specifically for companies that are ready to grow and poised to grow, but don't know how, but also have their foundation in place, that they have a good leadership, and a good leadership in play, and we can tie into that and take them to the next level.
Yeah, you're ready to take them from the whiteboard out to reality, or, from the business plan out to the streets. So often sales is, every department is equally important, but, without sales, you don't have any business. And it's really hard sometimes especially when you're talking about frac sand and you're talking about maybe some of these vibrating tubes and some of these other borehead type things. It takes a certain mind, a right brain, left brain. They always say that right brain people do better in sales and left brain people do better in math, that sort of thing. Maybe I got them flipped up. I can't remember. I don't use either side of my brain, so. But it's one of those things where I see where this is such an important part of somebody's business, and for you guys to be able to bring their projections and that sort of thing out to reality. What is it you guys are doing then? Services. I keep saying sales. In my mind, I think you guys are out there beating the streets like some sort of vacuum salesperson knocking door to door. That's not it. I get it. But talk to me about the services, that you guys are doing then.
So there's two ways that we're working with in the business development side of things. And one is introducing these guys, our clients, to high level, whether it be procurement managers, purchasing managers, all the way up to the drilling and completion managers, the shot callers. We're introducing these guys to them on a high level basis. So we're having high level meetings in downtown Pittsburgh, downtown Houston, wherever it may be. And it's not the rig to rig sales. No, we still do that from time to time as needed, but it's more or less going in, grabbing the MFAs, introducing and building rapport within our client and our customers, and following up and providing the support that they need to continue moving on in a business relationship. So I don't know if that's too vague of an explanation, but that's the 30,000-foot view of what we're doing. And then additionally, if there is a sales team already in play, we come in and we also help on a mentorship side to help develop some people skills, some sales perspectives. I'm really bad at the used car salesman because I don't ever want to sell anyone on a service. Because anytime someone feels like they've been sold, they hold animosity, and so you don't want to buy my used car, I don't sell it to you. However, if you are in the need of some really good services that my clients provide, I can show you how their services can make your life easier. And so that's really where we're at with our services.
You mentioned frac sand earlier, and I don't know exactly to what level you guys do your sales and marketing and business development, the networking and relationships. That's another word I wrote down. You mentioned that, and that's kind of an important attribute in today's business climate. So having relationships and even being able to connect relationships is a commodity out there. And so I think that offering that as a service is perfectly normal in today's business culture. But I wanted to ask you about the frac sand part. There's a bottleneck going on, and apparently the bottleneck's going to be around for a couple of years, 18 to 24 months. It's talking with Joe Dancy from the University of Oklahoma. He's with their law department. He runs their energy center. He was down there speaking at the Hart Conference at the Horseshoe Pavilion down in, I think it's in Midland, Texas. And he mentioned one of the things that we were talking about was the frac sand and bottleneck, because there's such a demand for frac sand right now. Good quality frac sand. And the Permian's so hot that there's this bottleneck going on. And so I didn't know, you mentioned a frac sand client, so I'll give you an opportunity, I guess, to talk a little bit about, your clients. On one hand, I understand there's confidentiality that's involved with oil and gas, but on the other hand, there's also, some public responsibility when there's a lot of stuff in the news of what's going on and everything. Have you talked to your clients about this kind of issue that's percolating right now in oil and gas here with that bottleneck going on down in the Permian?
Absolutely. Right now, I believe the Permian has more sand coming into it than any other play in the nation. And what we've seen is the bottleneck is really there's limited transloaded facilities and there's limited space within those facilities. And so customers who are waiting on sand are waiting for much longer than anticipated. And so what they're doing is they're looking for alternative methods. And native sand to Texas has become one of those solutions. Now, it's not the solution, but it's a part of the solution. And so it's easier accessible because they can send a truck direct to the mine there, whether it be a local or within the region. But what this has done, though, for my client actually owns a frac sand mine that has great native sand. It's a brown sand, but it's a great native sand. And we've had tremendous acceptance of our labs, and they're a great client to work with. I work exclusively for them. We don't work with brokers. We're a mine to customer direct. And so what we have found is it's opened a lot of lines of communication with customers that we ultimately may not have had the opportunity to do so, but these guys are desperate and they're looking for alternative methods and alternative solutions. And so together we've kind of created this think tank, and we're all actively trying to find creative ways to, one, reduce the cost, reduce the input, the footprint that we have on the roadways as well as the trains. And so it's been fun. It's been hard, but I think ultimately, we'll have a solution here sooner than later.
Stephen Robbins with Royal Creek Consultants. Any final thoughts you might have? Anything that we didn't mention? Anything you want to reiterate? Anything you want to bring up in a new issue, I guess, type of thing? I like to give guests the final word. So any final thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. In addition to Royal Creek Consulting, I also own another oil and gas service company. My wife, April, and I both own Royal Creek and Journey Oilfield Inc. And Journey is a equipment rental company, and we are specifically renting 10K cyclonic sand separators. And we're constantly expanding our inventory, and got a lot of work going on right now in West Texas, and we're excited about that. My clients, like everyone else, I believe right now in the industry, are hiring. So if anyone would like to reach out to me direct, we're looking for some real good torque and test hands, rig hands, wellhead, and frac valve maintenance hands. So if anybody out there listening is looking for an opportunity to work with some great companies, reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction. And I just want to say, Jason, thanks for having me on. It's a real honor to actually be able to work with someone such as yourself, and thanks again.
Well, I appreciate that very much. But before you go, I wanted to ask you about, is it Journey Equipment?
Journey Oilfield Inc. Yes, sir.
Journey Oilfield Inc. And what is it you guys do there? That's sorry, I wasn't expecting that. Another company. And by the way, we also do this company too. So what is that company? Journey Oilfield Inc. It sounded like equipment, huh?
Yes, sir. We're right now we're renting production equipment, primarily to flowback companies and other contractors in the Permian Basin out in West Texas. And we've got a great company that builds these units. It's complete system fabrication out of Fort Worth, Texas, and some of the best units on the market right now, bar none. And we're excited about it. It was an opportunity driven by the market, especially in West Texas, where as they continually pick up more rigs and more frac spreads, the need to get this oil and gas to the market is crucial. And so our sand separators come in. It's in the process of the flowback where they're cleaning up the wells and getting everything ready for sale. And so it's been interesting. It's been fun, and we're working with some really great customers right now. But as I said, we're constantly adding to our inventory, and with that, we're looking to diversify our customer portfolio.
All right, then let's recap your company one more time in terms of contact information and everything else along those lines. The Royal Creek Consultants portion of it, Stephen Robbins, Vice President in his household and also his company, because his wife, April, is the president. Did I hear that right? It's your wife that's the president of the company?
Yeah, the company and the house.
Yeah, exactly. So vice president in life and in profession, Royal Creek Consultants. How can somebody get in touch with you?
They can reach me by email, or they can even reach me by my cell phone. And my email is srobbins@royalcreekconsulting.com, and they can reach us at 540-742-1291.